Hello everyone, it's Dan here from Thomas Roller Support. In this video I'm going to take you through the theme options within Uptime for WordPress. So to access our theme options, you've got a couple of methods. You can either hit the Customize link on the top bar here, or from your dashboard under Appearance you can choose Customize, and you'll also get to the same page. Now once you're in here, you're going to be greeted with a whole bunch of options. Some of these are default to WordPress, some of these are obviously to do with our theme. What we're going to do is go through them one by one. We'll cover each one so you've got an idea of how they work and what to expect. So to start with, you've got your site identity. You can upload your logo, give it a title, tagline, as well as a favicon. Now we'll go into this in a bit more detail, but you'll see the logo here is light and the logo here is dark. Now this is to do with the override, so although the rest of the pages by default will use this logo, we can override the logo on a per page basis. But we'll go through this in a separate video. Next up we've got the colours. Now this is just for the main body background. For the theme colours you'll see we've got a whole separate area here. For the background image, if you want to put a background image on the body, you can do so here. Now the next two, I personally prefer to use the dedicated admin areas. However, here you can control your menus, add items, etc. I personally find it a bit cramped. And here you can also control the widgets that are available. Now you'll notice if you are using this, it will only show you the widget areas that are present in the page. So if you're looking at a page which uses a certain footer which doesn't have these, then these won't be available. Moving on, we've got the homepage settings. This is where you can specify if you want your homepage to be a list of your recent posts or a static page like our demo. Now if you're a bit of a developer and want to add some custom CSS, you can do so here. Very handy for small snippets. If you are planning something a bit heavier, then perhaps use the child theme which was set up in the Getting Started video. Now I've got the styling settings. This is where you can specify a Google font. You'll notice these are blank by default. That's simply because we don't use one in the theme, but if you want to go ahead and pop one in, this is where to do so. I'm going to actually cover this in another video. It's very simple, but I don't want to make this one too long, so keep an eye out for that if you want to know more. Now I've got theme colours, as I've already mentioned. This is where you can specify the colours used in the page. I will quickly note here you can also override these on a per page basis as well. So you'll notice on our demo we've got some pages which use these colours, got others which use a different kind of set. This is all done on a per page basis, so you've got full control. It's pretty cool. Now in the header settings you can choose your overall header layout. Again, this is something where you can override per page. We'll go through this separately. But yeah, as you can see we've got a whole bunch of different layouts to choose from. This is where you can specify which one is used by default on your pages. Now you can also use the sticky menu to turn that off and on. However, this search option won't be available in the main theme. This is just a kind of development version. Just before finish, this is actually to be removed. Under the button settings, this is where you can specify where you want this button here to go to, as well as the label used. Obviously, if you want to remove it, just leave those blank. Now I've got the page layout settings, so this is where you can set the breadcrumbs to be available by default on standard pages. And by that I mean if it's a page that you've not used a page builder for. Those are actually controlled separately, as you can control all of the page content with the page builder. In the blog view settings, you can choose the layout for the hero area, or the title area for the blog posts. In the archive view settings you can specify areas like this. If I just bring up the blog, you can choose a background image for the blog here. You can specify your own text, etc. and choose a header if you want to. For instance, we're using a white header here, so we've already overridden it with a white logo, but if you want to we can remove that and use a dark logo there instead, or just leave it at the theme default. It's really up to you, you've got full control. And I've got the blog archive layout. This is where you can specify the default layout for your posts. And in the CTA area you can optionally have a CTA area at the bottom here, like you can see. Just close that. We'll accept a shortcode, so if you've created a form or you've got another plugin, etc., you want to pop in the CTA area, you can do so here. In the portfolio single view, you can choose the layout for the portfolio items. This is also something you can arrange on a per post basis as well. The portfolio archive area, header settings, much like the blog settings we've seen before, you can choose to put in your own title, etc., and hide or display the breadcrumbs. And you can also choose the default layout for your portfolio archive. Documentation single view, we can enable or disable the archive, the meta, etc. In the archive view, we can specify a background image, enable or disable the breadcrumbs, choose a header layout if you want to override the theme options, and pop in our popular searches. Now this one's quite interesting. It is comma separated, so you can see here we've got 3 entities in there. Now if I just open the documentation archive, you can see here we've got 3 searches already set, so you can click them and it will go off and perform the search for you. And these simply correspond to the 3 things we've placed in here. So it's very simple to do, but quite effective, as you can tell. In the team archive, you've got control of your header, like the other posts, as well as the layout for your team members. And you've got a separate area here for the CTA, which is shown at the bottom there. This will also accept shortcodes. In the testimonial archive, much like before, we can control the title, subtitle, breadcrumbs, the header area, and so on. Now here you can specify your own 404 logo. So this is something, if you want to use the standard one you've set up in the site identity, that's fine. But if, like us in the demo, if you want to have a nice white one instead, that's where you can choose to override the logo. The WP login area here is where you can specify a logo used for the login page, as well as the background if you want to put an image. Finally, we've got the footer settings, where you can choose the default footer layout, which again can be controlled per page, as well as the footer CTA area for this here. So if you don't want this, you can leave this completely blank, or like us, you can pop in your own HTML in there if you wish. And finally, we've got the copyright area, which is at the bottom here. Now you can use some little codes here, so rather than putting in the year manually, you can simply put in the current year code here, and if you want the copyright sign, you can do the same. Very simple, and we've got an example there just to show you. Okay, well that's it for the theme options within Uptime. I hope this has been useful and not too lengthy. We're going to go through the overrides next so you can see exactly what options you can control per page. But in the meantime, I hope this has been useful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.